Hello and welcome to Premier League Betting, where we discuss Premier League and betting. I am Adam Zdroik, a writer at RotoWire, joined with Chris Owen, also a writer at RotoWire. Chris, welcome to the initial show of Premier League betting on Premier League, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think the title is a work in progress right now, but the inaugural inaugural podcast here. So yeah, thanks for inviting me on this, and I'm excited to talk about a little bit of Premier League betting.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we got the first show here. We got a ticker on the bottom, and I just pulled up our betting page that we have at RotoWire. So here, right off the soccer page, you can go to sports betting, and we got articles we got every week, and we have a list of um, pretty much you can compare. You can get best odds for all these places and compare them, see where you can get the best numbers, that kind of thing. Usually go here to check out what's good, what's not good, but something to use if you're looking for something easy to see odds with. But anyway, so yeah, that's it. We're gonna try and do this every week and discuss odds, and hopefully hand out some winners. We're gonna do best or our best bets. Usually, my best bet is my worst bet in reality. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, um, yeah. What do you think? Ready for the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back to giving out your best bet. It's the one that you've poured over. You've looked at all the numbers and you feel confident enough. And so sometimes when you look at those numbers so frequently, you're like, yeah, okay, well, this seems like it makes a lot of sense. And then due to the amount that you focused on it, it can maybe come back to bite you from time to time.
Yeah, I'll talk about that when we get to it. But anyways, so game week one, there's 34 goals. You got a little more than 3 goals a match. The over 2.5 goals hit in 7 of the 10 matches, so pretty high scoring. I think usually every season it's kind of high scoring at the beginning of the years. All the back lines are kind of rusty, that kind of thing. 7 home teams won. We'll be talking about the home field advantage with fans. I think that's going to be a big thing this year. And then all but Manchester City and Tottenham had a goal scored in the first half. Um, but anyways, do you have any major takeaways from last week other than home teams, a lot of goals, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess two takeaways is, we saw this last season a little bit too. There was that Aston Villa Liverpool result that was like 7-2. I believe it was Tottenham United that was like 6-1 in the beginning of the season too. So there's, to begin the season, I feel like we're always seeing some results that have a ton of goals. And then the other aspect was there was no draws. If I remember correctly, there was 10 winners, 10 losers. So there was no draws last week, and that's not something that I don't think any of us could have predicted. But yeah, those are probably my two biggest takeaways from last week, aside from Tottenham looking pretty strong under Nuno now, and I don't pretty good for them to be at home and play against City, but I definitely didn't see Tottenham coming away with that win.
Yeah, it was
What about
something
yourself?
yeah, that Tottenham game. That was something I changed on, I think Sunday morning. I looked at, I saw the Saturday results. I saw, all these home teams. They're just going crazy with their fans. I'm like, well, Manchester City, they're not going to have De Bruyne. Well, he didn't start at least. Um, they had Nathan Ake in the back line, so it's some new pieces. They had Jack Grealish starting for his second game with them. So I was like, maybe I'll do something with Tottenham here, and I already like the under, and I got was it a free bet at DraftKings? So I put a little bit on the under 2.5 and Tottenham win, and I pretty much it happened as I saw it coming Sunday morning, which that doesn't usually happen, but
Yeah,
yeah, with weird results with those goals, like I don't know, I like you can definitely see something like that happening. And like, well, maybe not any of these matches, but like you got Everton Leeds. Right now, the Leeds back line is pretty terrible. They look
yeah,
terrible against Man United. Um, maybe the one thing, if you're looking at that game, they are getting Calvin Phillips back. So I don't want to go off the rails here and suggesting to go against Leeds because I think they're a lot better with Calvin Phillips. but I don't think that's going to be one of our best bets. So I don't want to, touch on that too much. Um, but yeah, looking forward now. We're a forward-looking podcast,
Of course.
forward-looking video here. um, so just before doing this, I was just scrolling through the odds, and it just seems like a lot of love for the home teams. I feel like the odds makers they pretty much took in what we were just talking about, the home teams. They're like, okay, home team's definite advantage with the fans. Yeah, I mean, just going back to Leeds, they're plus 135 to beat Everton. I mean, that seems like a decent amount considering how they looked last week, and Everton won. Crystal Palace is a favorite, which you don't see too often. And they're going against Brentford, who look pretty good against Arsenal. Um, Brighton, you can go down the line with these. You got a lot of, at least not most of the home teams are favored. Even Aston Villa, who they're not going to have Traore, they're not going to have Watkins, they're not going to have some of their best attackers. Still a pretty decent favorite against Newcastle. Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get into this with my best bet, but that Brighton home team match definitely. I think at least for Saturday slate, all the home teams are favored in one way or another. Um, but what is that Sunday we're looking at now?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say. I mean, Arsenal at home. And I don't know if this is your best bet or not, but I was thinking about this. And I was listening to another podcast yesterday, and I'm not sure if there's any player from Arsenal starting 11 that would get into Chelsea's starting 11 at this point. And so obviously Chelsea are favorite here, but I and the way they play last week, I just have no sense of like why I could, and even looking at these odds, I have no sense of um, why I would consider Arsenal at that bet. So that's just one that I would myself kind of steer away from, but they definitely have some decent odds at home.
yeah. I'll talk about Arsenal a little bit later.
I figured, I know I kind of looked at your betting on Premier League article this week, and you noted some of the why it might be advantageous to look at Arsenal against Chelsea, and even considering some of those matches last week. But I would not be surprised to see Mikel Arteta gone. Maybe in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks, that seems quick, but they
Who
do.
knows?
Yeah, I mean, they do have a pretty rough schedule here. I think they got someone tough up next. Manchester City. Yeah, they got Manchester
Yeah,
City
Man
next.
City's next.
So
Yep.
if they lose these next two, start with 3 losses, like there's definitely gonna be talk. I mean, there's always talk. So if
Yeah.
they lose their first three, that's gonna be something. But then for the Arteta backers, they have Norwich coming up after that, Burnley. So there's going to be okay. Well, he can turn it around with a couple easy games, but um, yeah, we'll see on that.
Maybe
But yeah,
when we
overall, yeah, go ahead.
when we return from the international break, we'll have to take a look at managers to be sacked odds.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know when.
I don't know.
I
I don't know
found
where to
I
get
found a
those.
lack of like futures odds before the season. I don't. We'd
Yep.
have to find someone who actually had those odds, because those are for places like DraftKings and FanDuel. I haven't really seen first manager to get sacked or anything like that. So we probably have to go to Bet365 or one of the English books or something. They probably got all kinds of stuff like that. But
Yeah.
all right, so I guess that's it. Let's all right, try and sell me on your best bet here. What do we got?
Yeah, so I was looking at this. While I was writing the FanDuel daily fantasy article, I was also kind of doing a little bit of research on this, and one match that popped out to me is that Watford Brighton match. There's some interesting odds it might be tough for Watford to come in and win their second game of the season against Brighton, but they are coming off a 3-2 win against Aston Villa last weekend, and they're Watford at plus 475 to win. This is last night, so I don't know if the odds have been updated much, and then a draw at 250, which I'm definitely interested in. Um, you know, Aston Villa and Brighton, I was looking back at last season's defensive performances, and they actually conceded exactly 46 goals apiece. So that they're pretty similar back lines. And that being said, I'm not sure Brighton got any better this season. They got rid of Ben White over to Arsenal, and so I'm not super confident that Brighton are any better than they were last season. And then so the plus was it what did I say 250 to draw is something that's super intriguing for
Yeah.
me. And then looking at that, they won. So Brighton won 2-1 last week to Burnley, and then Watford, of course, won 3-2 against Aston Villa. So if you look at the over, we have the over 2.5 goals is plus 120, and the over 3.5 goals is plus 295. So that's definitely the draw is the probably main consideration, and then the over of the 2.5 and 3.5 goals is something that I would consider as like a backup bet.
Yeah, I saw that on your sheet before doing this, and I was like, well, that's a pretty good idea. No, you definitely have some good points there. You can get Watford to win or draw is plus 120, so you're getting plus odds. If it's a draw, it's a winner. If Watford win, it's a winner. So I usually like doing those. If you're not
Yeah,
too comfortable, too confident in a win, then you got two results there, and you're getting plus odds on it. I think your theory is pretty good. I do think Brighton, they have a chance to get better than last year. If Tariq Lamptey, he's still hurt. He's gonna maybe return to the team in next month. But they got Solly March back, which is a pretty big help. He was good last season in the first half. But yeah, otherwise they didn't really add anyone. They got yeah, they didn't really add anyone.
yeah, no, definitely not in their back line. At least they're pretty much the same or
Yeah,
unchanged. And then
yeah,
yeah, I mean
they
Lamptey's
started.
is
Right. They started Duffy in the opener, and apparently he's a part of their team now. And I think he played for Celtic last year, and he was like done, and now he's starting. I don't know, but
yeah, they what do they let him go at the end of the season? He returned to Brighton and played a couple matches. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a little bit uncertain there for that Brighton back line, and that's why the win draw
yeah,
bet is plus odds. You can't really it's tough for me to pass that up, but
yeah,
then the over too is something I would really consider.
yeah. I definitely agree with that. Just Brighton as a team, like they last year, they preferred to play with possession. It seemed like they had a decent amount of possession, a lot of games, 60%, 55%, but then they couldn't convert their chances. They had trouble scoring. And like you said, they didn't really add anyone to score those goals. So I don't know how much is it going to change. Maybe Brighton. Well, they're probably a better team overall than Watford. Will probably finish higher in the table, but on a game-to-game basis, um, you know, Watford, if you're getting plus 475 on a win, that's pretty good. So
Yeah,
not it makes probably more sense than mine is what I'll say.
yeah. And
Um,
what did you go with your best bet?
yeah, so like you said, so I started my article on Tuesday, and this Arsenal game, it just popped out to me. Funny enough, they're getting worse odds than Watford are to win. So I guess that's bad for my bet right away. Um, but yeah, it stood out to me, and I know people, everyone's gonna think I'm crazy. It doesn't make sense. Why should you do this? Arsenal, they've been bumping around. I think when I wrote my article on Wednesday, plus 360 to win. That's now plus 380. They got a couple more guys out with, I guess Lacazette and Willian are still out with COVID. But Aubameyang, he returned Thursday, so hopefully he's going to play. Hopefully, it's assumed Saka is going to be in the starting 11. So that's going to be a big help compared to last week. But otherwise, they weren't great against Brentford. I think it was just a steamroll that came to them. Brentford, they played awesome. Well, not awesome, but they got their goals when they were given the
Absolutely.
chance and that kind of thing. But Arsenal, I guess they're kind of like Brighton. They like to have possession and they'll convert when needed, but they're not going to have possession against Chelsea. And so last year, just going through the numbers here. Last year at home in December, Arsenal won as a plus 360 underdog. in May when Chelsea, they're running through Champions League, Arsenal won again 1-0. That was plus 340 underdog. They played a few weeks ago in a friendly. Chelsea won 2-1, but it was a pretty even match. Both teams got their chances. I think they had the same exact shots on target and corners taken. So looking at that, I had plus 380 and plus 310 for the winner draw, which you're just talking about with Watford. I just think last season, there's so like we were talking about Arteta last season, so many times it was Arteta, he's under fire. They're losing all these games in a row. Then all of a sudden, they get these wins against Chelsea. They play well against some of the other top teams. It kind of happens out of nowhere. And maybe none of their guys would start for Chelsea. Yeah, maybe that's true. But I mean, as we look into that, they're starting Marcos Alonso, and if we're going 1-to-1, I think I'd start
Yeah,
Tierney over him.
definitely. That was the
Um,
only one I was thinking of. Yeah, definitely.
but I mean, technically, like that's Chilwell's position. So, um, otherwise, it would
Yeah, I mean,
help if Thomas Partey was playing,
yeah.
but
I mean, you're right about that with like the two results last season, whereas they had about similar odds, if not the same, and Arsenal did come away with that. And in your comment about Arteta, being able to be basically under fire throughout most of the season, and then have a big result against Chelsea, I'd have to look at a few more of the results, but it seems like every time they lost or drew like a few games, he came back with a big result. So, if they can this week, especially if they can do that, make a couple bucks on it and you know keep his job would be a big plus for them. So I don't totally disagree with you. I'm just like looking at the quality of the two teams and the bets and just I in my small brain here, I am just not sure how I don't see Chelsea coming away with a win.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. You don't see how it's going to happen. People didn't
Right.
see how Tottenham weren't going to win last week, and then it happened. Their first game back with full fans. I think that's a big that really showed up in the first weekend. I think that's the thing that's going to help these Arsenal guys. A lot of the younger ones, especially Saka, who he went off in the Euros with that PK miss. But I mean that's in the past, obviously, but something to help pick these guys back up after a loss. But yeah, just in terms of the odds, like you said, you find it hard to take Arsenal. 380 now, it was 360 during the week. Like it could be something come Sunday morning that number's at 400, 420. I think it might only keep going up after the news about this COVID issues coming up, more problems with them. That's even with Aubameyang and the team. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Like if you're looking to back a team just in general that no one has faith around in the public, I think the odds will just increase in your favor as it moves along. So probably if you want to back Watford, maybe do that right now. Maybe do that day before the game. But if something like Arsenal, you could probably wait and probably maybe hopefully get better odds than that. But otherwise, yeah. Any last thoughts on the slate here?
Not really. The game I think I'm most excited just to watch from an aesthetics point is Everton and Leeds. I feel like that could be a goal fest, and so I would consider even looking at some of the overs on that. But that seems like there's obviously Chelsea Arsenal is going to be exciting, but I could see it maybe going a little being kind of stale. And then Nuno's return to Wolves too is going to be interesting as well. But the game I really do want to watch is Leeds Everton just because of the sheer firepower that could come out of that one. Is
Yeah,
there
for
any
sure.
games, any matches you're keeping an eye on outside of those?
We got a couple big favorites there. I know I like putting together parlaying Manchester City and Liverpool together. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of looking at the Southampton Manchester United game. I think it's kind of the same situation as Chelsea here. There's Manchester United's going to get a lot of backing here. They're getting some guys back. They're getting Sancho back. Um, I don't know. Southampton's home. Their opener. I know they've been terrible. Uh, I'm probably going to end up taking Southampton for some reason, and they're going to lose 5-0. But Southampton home. there have been times when, Ole's Man United teams they've put in some questionable results. I think it's possible, but Man United have been playing better on like the last half season here, so maybe I'm not going to touch that. I don't know. I'll probably think about it 100 more times. But,
Yeah, enough coffee
anyways,
Sunday morning, and maybe something ends
yeah,
up on Southampton.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, probably be what plus 500 by Sunday morning with all the Man United love going on next couple days. But,
Yeah,
anyways, quick and easy podcast here. Thanks for listening or watching. Like and subscribe wherever this is going to pop up. I don't even know where it's going to be. But thanks, Chris, for joining, and we'll see you in the future.
yeah. Thanks, Adam.